are listening to the Day by Day podcast for the third week of March, 2016. Welcome to the Day by Day podcast with me, Siobhan. This week we celebrate a breakfast treat, raise awareness for the element that is vital to life, and prevent a potential tragedy. Let's get started. First off, let me just say, welcome springtime. March 20th is the first official day of spring. While it never feels much like winter in South Florida, the rest of the country can now happily leave the cold and snow behind them. In case you're wondering, the top colors for spring 2016, according to Pantone, are rose quartz, peach echo, serenity blue, snorkel blue, buttercup, limpet shell blue, lilac gray, fiesta red, green flash, and iced coffee. So now you're ready to step out in style. This week is National Poison Prevention Week. The goal of this week is to raise awareness of the risk of being poisoned by common household items such as medicines, pesticides, fumes, plants, and food poisoning, in the hope of preventing future poisonings. This week of raising awareness has been observed since 1962, when President John F. Kennedy made the first proclamation. More than 2 million potential poisoning cases are reported to American poison control centers every year. Over 90% of these poisonings occur in the home, and the majority occur with children 5 and younger. Though a small percentage of these poisoning cases result in death, fortunately, there can be long-term effects due to poisoning. The National Poison Data System began in 1983, and since then it has recorded over 60 million exposure cases with more than 390,000 different products. So what is a poison? Well, according to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, a poison is anything that can harm someone if it is used in the wrong way, used by the wrong person, or used in the wrong amount. Some poisons may be harmful if they come into contact with your eyes or skin. Others may be toxic if you breathe or swallow them. Poisons can come in 4 different forms: solid, liquid, spray, and gases. Here are some tips to help prevent a poisoning. Buy products in child-proof containers or with a child-resistant cap. Keep medicine, cleaners, and other poisons out of sight and out of reach of children. Do not leave medicines, cleaners, and other poisons open or within easy reach of a child. A poisoning can happen in mere seconds. Keep products in the container that it came in. Do not reuse containers that held potentially poisonous products. Install a carbon monoxide alarm in your home. Always follow directions when taking medications, and when taking more than one medication, beware of possible interactions. It's also a good idea to memorize and program the Poison Control Center number into your phone. That number is 1-800-222-1222. And of course, don't hesitate to call 911 if the person is unconscious, having trouble breathing, or showing other signs of a life-threatening illness. For even more information and to get your Prevention Week planner, visit poisonhelp.hrsa.gov. There's also an outreach toolkit available at aapcc.org.
Water, 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 water. Over here and over there. Water everywhere. Water in the pool. Keeping us cool. Up in the clouds, then down it goes. It's pumped to our homes where the water flows. Water cleans you up. Sitting in the tub. Water cleans the floor when you scrub, scrub, scrub. Home to the fish. for the water we've got. Water is a gift, so don't waste it. Turn it off when you're done. We'll have enough for everyone.
This Tuesday is World Water Day. This is an annual observance instituted by the United Nations that focuses on the importance of fresh water and advocates for the sustainable management of freshwater resources throughout the world. The first World Water Day was designated in 1993, with each year focusing on a different issue. Past themes have included water and energy, water and sustainable development, water and disasters, and water sanitation. This year's theme is water and jobs. Today, almost half of the world's workers, which are 1.5 billion people, work in water-related sectors, and nearly all jobs depend on water and those that ensure its safe delivery. Yet, the millions of people who work in water are often not recognized or protected by basic labor rights. This year's theme focuses on how enough quantity and quality of water can change workers' lives and livelihoods, and even transform societies and economies.
Water. It's life's most basic need. But there's a water crisis in our world right now. Seriously, a crisis. Nearly 1 billion people live without clean drinking water. It's happening all over the world, especially in developing areas of sub-Saharan Africa, Southeast Asia, and Latin America. It's a water crisis because it starts with water. But water affects everything. Education, health, poverty, and especially women and children. Let's look at a family caught in the water crisis. It's likely they live on less than $1 a day. When they're thirsty, they can't just turn on the faucet for a nice cold glass of water. They don't have a faucet. Instead, the women and children go off to collect water. Many walk up to 3 hours a day to the nearest swamp, pond, or river to gather water that's been sitting out in the open, exposed to all kinds of germs. Time spent gathering water is time they can't spend learning to read, write, earn an income, or take care of their family. Some women in sub-Saharan Africa spend more time collecting water than any other activity they do in the day. And the walk isn't just hard, it's dangerous. The women are alone and burdened with 40 pounds of water. Many get hurt. Sometimes they're even attacked. When they make it home, the little water they've collected isn't clean. Some families know their water is contaminated with germs that cause diarrhea, dehydration, even death. But what choice do they have? Kids, especially babies, are affected most by these germs. About every 19 seconds, a mother loses one of her children to a water-related illness. And each day, almost 1 billion people are living this way.
That clip you just heard was from a video by charitywater.org. You can get more information about World Water Day and find out ways to get involved by visiting unwater.org. This Wednesday is Near Miss Day. On March 22nd and 23rd, 1989, an asteroid passed within about 400,000 miles of Earth. In cosmic terms, that's a close call. So this day is more of an anniversary than a celebration or an observance, though I suppose we should celebrate the fact that Earth wasn't hit by the asteroid. The asteroid, which was discovered a week after it passed by Earth, was first called 1989 FC and is now referred to as 4581 Asclepius. It was about a half-mile in diameter and traveling at 46,000 miles per hour. Though it didn't hit the Earth, and the distance which it passed by us exceeds the Moon's orbital radius, the close pass received attention at that time, especially since the asteroid passed through the exact position of the Earth only 6 hours earlier. It raised many questions about what would happen if an asteroid hit the Earth, and if we are prepared for such an event. I think the answer to the second part of that question was no. It helped stimulate broad interest and concern in this potential threat to civilization and even to the survival of humanity. Following the asteroid's discovery and subsequent research, the The U.S. House of Representatives Committee on Science, Space, and Technology directed NASA to conduct 2 workshops related to the asteroid threat as recommended in a position paper published by AIAA's Space Systems Technical Committee. One of these workshops was for the detection and characterization of the threat, including determining the orbit with precision, which would allow the accurate prediction of an impact. And the other workshop dealt with issues related to mitigating the threat. From a 1989 press conference, Dr. Bevan French, then the advanced program scientist for NASA's Solar System Exploration Division in Washington, D.C., said that if the asteroid had collided with the Earth, the impact would have been equivalent to the explosion of 20,000 hydrogen bombs, creating a crater 5 to 10 miles in diameter and a mile deep, enough to destroy a good-sized city, he said. He also said that had it landed in the ocean, it could have been worse, since huge tidal waves could have been created that would sweep over coastal regions, much like a tsunami. This isn't a rare occurrence. Close approaches by objects the size of Asclepius pass by every 2 or 3 years, undetected, until the start of computerized near-Earth object searches. And of course, our technology has improved since 1989. On March 24th, 2051, Asclepius will pass by Earth again at 1.1 million miles away. I guess that's something to look forward to. Something else to look forward to, a little closer, is Sweden's Waffle Day this week, March 25th. But I give you permission to celebrate outside of Sweden too. According to visitsweden.com, Swedes started making waffles baked in square irons used directly in the open fire in the 17th century. The characteristic rounded iron that makes heart-shaped waffles came around in the 19th century. The name comes from Varfrudagen. Sorry if my Swedish is off. But Varfrudagen means Our Lady's Day, which in vernacular Swedish sounds like Waffeldagen, which means Waffle Day. So Our Lady's Day is celebrated on March 25th, the Christian holiday of Annunciation, and Waffle Day are hence celebrated on the same day, although it has no religious connection to Our Lady's Day. I'm sure most everyone has eaten waffles before, or at least seen one, but in case you are wondering, a waffle is made by pressing a leavened dough or batter between 2 hot plates. Depending on the waffle iron used, there are various sizes and shapes of waffles made. Waffles are characterized by a crispiness that pancakes lack. As far back as the 13th century, ancient Greeks cooked flat cakes between metal plates and ate them with herbs and cheeses. And even earlier, in the 19th century, wafers were made with flour and water pressed between metal plates. The Swedes typically enjoy their waffles with jam and whipped cream. That sounds amazing right now. In the United States, National Waffle Day is celebrated August 24th, which was the date of a U.S. patent on a waffle iron. So, celebrate now and be ready to celebrate again in 5 months, or just celebrate waffle season for the next 5 months.
Waffles! Waffles! Can't wait to get a mouthful.
Finally this week, Saturday, March 26th, is Purple Day. Purple being my favorite color, I'm of course drawn to this observance, but more importantly, Purple Day is to raise awareness for epilepsy. Purple Day was the brainchild of a young girl named Cassidy Megan beginning in 2008. Now a teen, Cassidy is from Nova Scotia and battles epilepsy herself. Her goal is to get people talking about epilepsy in an effort to dispel myths and inform those with seizures that they are not alone. On the most basic level, participants wear purple on this day. Over the years, this effort has gained attention from celebrities and politicians around the world. Participation in the day has gone beyond just wearing purple. Walks, bake sales, and other fundraisers take place all over the world. Epilepsy is a group of related disorders characterized by a tendency for recurrent seizures. There are different types of epilepsy and seizures. They include generalized seizures, also called grand mal seizures, which involve all areas of the brain. The person experiencing such a seizure may cry out or make some sound, stiffen for several seconds to a minute, and then have rhythmic movements of the arms and legs. Often these rhythmic movements slow before stopping. Their eyes are generally open. The person may appear to not be breathing and actually turn blue. This may be followed by a period of deep, noisy breaths. The return to consciousness is gradual, and the person may be confused for quite some time, minutes to hours. The person will frequently be confused after a generalized seizure. Partial or focal seizures involve only part of the brain and only part of the body is affected. If the part of the brain controlling movement of the hand is involved, then only the hand may show rhythmic or jerky movements. If other areas of the brain are involved, symptoms might include strange sensations like a full feeling in the stomach or small repetitive movements such as picking at one's clothes or smacking of the lips. Sometimes the person with a partial seizure appears dazed or confused. This may represent a complex partial seizure. The term complex is used by doctors to describe a person who is between being fully alert and unconscious. Absence or petit mal seizures are most common in childhood, and children oftentimes outgrow these seizures. In these types of seizures, impairment of consciousness is present, with the person often staring blankly. Repetitive blinking or other small movements may be present. Typically, these seizures are brief, lasting only seconds. Some people may have many of these in a day. Epilepsy drugs are prescribed to control seizures, and rarely surgery is necessary if medications are ineffective. Surgery is effective for about 10 to 15% of epilepsy patients. There are about 50 million people worldwide living with epilepsy, 2.2 million in the US alone. The Purple Day website points out that epilepsy is not contagious, it is not a disease, and is not a psychological disorder. Seizure triggers can be anything from a missed meal to hormonal changes to lack of sleep to flickering lights and even bright sunlight. If you are around someone when they have a seizure, it is important to stay calm and help the person as best you can. Do not restrain them or hold them down or put anything in their mouth, but keep sharp or dangerous items away from them. And stay with the person until they are fully alert. Historical figures, including Thomas Edison, Charles Dickens, and Socrates, had epilepsy. And current celebrities, Lil Wayne and Neil Young, have epilepsy. Visit the Purple Day website at purpleday.org for more information on Purple Day events, epilepsy, and how you can get involved. So that's it for this week. I'll be back next week. Until then, remember to make each day count.